Peace with you once again, and the peace of our resurrected Lord be with you, dearly beloved. Peace of Christ reign in your homes and in your beautiful hearts. I explained in the previous video why Easter is celebrated for 8 days the first week. But Easter tide is 50 days long till Pentecost Sunday. So there's a difference between Easter tide and Easter octave. Easter octave from the word octave. Octave means 8 days. That's why we have octagon, 8-sided figure. So why is Easter celebrated for 8 days the first week? Yesterday, today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Barnabas, I told you in the first video, the letter of Barnabas, he stated that God was going to usher in a new creation with Easter. So Easter symbolizes a new creation. What is the old creation or the first creation? The creation of man. The first week of creation, you know, God created the world in 6 days and he rested on the 7th day. 2 elements from the resurrection set our minds back to the first creation. I told you in the previous video. The first element is darkness. The second is the dust. Genesis 1:1. God called light, let there be light. It squashed the darkness. It vanquished the darkness. So in Genesis 1 verse 2, there was light. In Genesis 2, God creates man with the dust of the soil. These 2 elements are found regarding the resurrection of Jesus. First is the darkness. Christ, as the new light, vanquishes the darkness. So he's the new light of the new creation. The second element, dust. Where do we see it? In the tomb. Christ smears himself with the dust of the tomb. As man was made from the dust. So these 2 elements remind us of the first creation. So if the first creation lasted 6 days with the rest on the 7 days, then the Easter octave should take 7 days. Then the following Sunday will be celebrated these days as the Divine Mercy Sunday. So that's why we celebrate 8 days of Easter. 8 days of Easter, the first week. But the Easter tide or Easter season is 50 days long. Look at the gospel of today, Matthew 28, 8-15. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went away quickly from the tomb, fearful yet overjoyed, and ran to announce the news to his disciples. And behold, Jesus met them on their way and greeted them. They approached, embraced his feet, and did him homage. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go tell my brothers to go to Galilee, and there they will see me." While they were going, some of the guard, that is the soldiers, went into the city and told the chief priests all that had happened. The chief priests assembled with the elders and took counsel. Then they gave a large sum of money to the soldiers, telling them, "You are to say his disciples came by night and stole him while we were asleep. If this gets to the ears of the governor, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble." They took this money and did as they were instructed. And this story has circulated among the Jews till the present day. That Jesus' body was stolen, and this has circulated till the present day. 2 beautiful elements from this beautiful passage. There are 2 meetings in this brief passage, Matthew 28, 8-15. The first meeting is Jesus with the women. They were terrified, they were afraid, but there was an assurance. These terrified women are told, "Do not be afraid, go and tell my brothers." The assurance from the resurrected Lord. The first word that Jesus proclaims when he comes out of the tomb, he vanquishes darkness. "Do not be afraid, go tell my brothers." It is an ideology Christ was putting in the mind of the women. Do not fear as Christians. Proclaim, tell my brothers. This is the proclamation. And a convincing proclamation doesn't demand any money, economic interest, or stimulation. You are convinced here and in your heart. Christ is telling us, don't be afraid, Christians. Propound my message. Sell it to my brothers. Bring it to my brothers with no money. Sell it not in monetary terms. That is, bring it to my brothers. A synonym of propagating. We are convinced. That is the resurrection. The second meeting, the soldiers were terrified. They meet the priests and the elders, and they are also giving us assurance, but monetary assurance, to propound or propagate false ideologies that Jesus' body was stolen, he didn't resurrect. You see, into our world today, every false ideology hinges on monetary interest, motivations. All the false ideologies in this world are stimulated by money. When you are convinced in your mind and in your heart, you can never be convinced with money. So today as Christians, you can't even defend the truth that creation, God created man and woman. That God willed that man and woman should live together, and not two men and not two women, and not man with animal, and not man, a 40-year-old with a 3-year-old. People can't stand for this conviction, but they are motivated by money. When people propound these ideologies that we should allow men and men to marry, women and women to marry, it is false ideologies. We may not agree with them, but that doesn't mean that we have to attack them. No! The soldiers sold those false stories that Jesus' body was stolen, but nobody attacked the soldiers. It was a false ideology stimulated by money. Like today, these false ideologies of the LGBTQI people. We disagree with them, but we don't attack them, we don't kill them, we don't insult them. But as Christians, let us be convinced about the divine message here in our minds and in our hearts, and bring it to our brothers and sisters freely without gains, economic interest. I pray this passage inspires you. Do not settle or sell your conviction for economic interest. The peace of Christ continue to reign in your beautiful soul. Amen. Stay blessed.